Hello everyone, in this video we will see about the hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing is to validate whether any claim is valid or not. So there are two types of hypothesis testing. One is null hypothesis and another one is alternative hypothesis. What null hypothesis testing says that any population parameter equal to the some values, and alternative hypothesis is quite opposite to the null hypothesis. It says that the population parameter has the different value than the null hypothesis. What I mean to say that if your null hypothesis say that our mean is equal to 10, then alternative hypothesis will say it is not equal to 10. If our mean is equal to greater than 10, alternative hypothesis will say that it is less than 10. If our mean hypothesis says that less than 10, then it will be opposite to the greater than 10. Alternative hypothesis that decide the tail of our probability curve. What I mean that when our null hypothesis is equal to 10, then alternative hypothesis won't be equal to 10, then there will be chances that it will be either greater than or less than. That will goes into the two-tail test. And another case when null hypothesis is greater than 10, so the alternative hypothesis having lesser than sign, so it will go into left tail test. In the same case, if having greater than sign, it will go into the right hand tail test. Okay, so one thing you have to note that if you want to support your claim, then you must state that it is as alternative hypothesis. What I mean to say that if I say the average marks of this school is greater than 60, so that means mu is greater than 60. This I want to support this statement, then I will consider this one as a h1. Then I will tell h0 should be less than equal to 60. So like this, if you want to support any claim, you must consider it as an alternative hypothesis. Next is how to test hypothesis testing. Before doing hypothesis testing, we need to decide the statistical framework. What I mean to say that first you need to decide the type of test, whether it is a right tail, left tail and two tail test. On the sign of your alternative hypothesis, you will come to know that what type of test it is. For example, I have considered that our test is right tail test. Okay, next thing, for deciding your framework, what should be the confidence level? The most common confidence level that I use is 95%. Accordingly, the alpha value will be 0.05. In the previous video, I have already explained that what is the confidence level and alpha value. If you have not watched that video, you can watch it. I will give it to the link. So most common significance confidence level is 95%. This alpha value, which is this region, and this alpha value also called as the rejection region. Okay, next point for our framework is whatever this curve is, that is only valid for null hypothesis. What I mean to say that this probability plot is saying that the null hypothesis is true. If our data will lies in this region, then null hypothesis is true. If it goes into the rejection region, we will say that null hypothesis we failed to. Okay, so we have decided the statistical framework. Now we got our data, and now we have the statistical tool, and we have decided the alpha value we got from the frame. Now we need to calculate the p-value. In the p-value also we have discussed in the lot in the previous video. You can watch there. So how we will calculate the p-value? Using the test statistics. So we will calculate the Z, and from the Z score table we will get the p-value. And so this is our probability curve, and then we will calculate the Z value, and from the Z value we got the p-value. There are two chances. Either p-value will cross this critical value, or p-value will be the lesser than the, and this is the lesser than this critical value. So we will compare the p-value with the alpha value. If our p-value will be less than the alpha value, which is this case, then we will reject the null hypothesis. What I means here is p-value is lesser than the alpha value. So our data is going into the rejection region. As you can see this white shaded area. So data is coming into this region. So that's why we reject the null hypothesis. This whole structure is about the null hypothesis. So that's why we are talking about the null hypothesis. If our p-value is greater than alpha, in this case, this p-value, yellow shaded area, is greater than the alpha. That means our data is only in this region, not going into the rejection region. So we fail to reject what? Null hypothesis. So we fail to reject null hypothesis. So what we will say that in the first case, I have enough evidence to prove that H0 is wrong. So if H1 will be wrong, then H1 will be accepted. In this, we cannot say anything, right? For example, in practical example taking, like we have food sample, we give the two treatment, ultrasound and traditional treatment for extracting any compound. So after extracting the compound, what we actually wanted that we use some technology to enhance the extraction rate or extraction amount. So we will say that our ultrasound is significantly different from the traditional. So our alternative hypothesis will be what? So we want to support that there is a significant difference. So our alternative hypothesis will be there is a significant difference between two methods. And null hypothesis will be there is no significant difference between two methods. Okay, so accordingly then we will calculate the p-value and then we will compare the p-value with the alpha value. This alpha value come from the statistics frame and p-value will get from the data. And then based on p-value and alpha value, we will compare it. And if p-value is lesser than, then we will reject the H0 and accept the H1. If p-value is greater than alpha, then we will fail to reject H0. So it is all about the decision will be made for the only null hypothesis. Thank you so much.